The truth is that every vaccine, when a doctor gives you a vaccine, sometimes you hear things like, there's a good chance, there's a 1 in 10,000 chance you might fall dead suddenly. It's because every vaccine has an adverse reaction percentage, a certain adverse reaction. So it's not that vaccines are good or bad, it's that every vaccine has adverse reactions. The debate is which vaccines have higher adverse reactions, and some vaccines actually have additives and things in them that serve no purpose, that are lethal or carcinogenic. And so this whole idea that you're either for or against vaccines, there's no legroom for people like me who are trying to bring awareness to adverse reactions, unnecessary additives, all kinds of other legitimate objections that have credibility to them.
Over-vaccination, adjuvants, preservatives, and things like that are the main concerns for people who have concerns about vaccinations.
I think it's great that the CDC is conducting this public forum, but what was really disturbing to me is that I learned all this new information about the swine flu, but there's so much information out there about damaging vaccines, about not just short-term effects, not just people dying on the spot, but like long-term effects and eugenics. And I really feel not at peace in my soul, the fact that out of all this information, that none of that was disclosed. It makes me wonder, does the CDC and these vaccine companies, and you have billions and billions of dollars invested in here, it seems like there's, I don't know, there's good reasons to mistrust these institutions.
That children can safely receive up to 10,000 vaccines. That gentleman has a patent on the rotavirus vaccine, and he was also on the committee to decide whether that vaccine was put on our immunization schedule. So you want to talk about trust, we want to talk about people who aren't able to make those decisions and have their own pocketbook like that gentleman said.
Okay. Sorry, back to the subject here. I did notice the guy with the stripes on his sleeves doing a bit of tap dancing.
Yeah. One of the concerns of this is, they are posturing us towards a pandemic, if you will. The question I asked was very germane, because if they start giving these vaccines, they have spent $1.8 billion on these vaccine adjuvants already, squalene and others that have not been thoroughly tested, the MF59, which has been linked to the Gulf War syndrome, and the AS03, AS04, which has not been tested and is experimental. Okay, those are just some of the adjuvants, but my question is about the virility of it. In other words, if it's injected or given to someone, can it be spread? And if they start giving this, it will be spread, and it will cause sickness, and it will cause people to die. That's my concern.
I would really encourage people to just get on YouTube, go back and look at the news footage and the pieces that were done by 60 Minutes and other news organizations of the day back in 1976 for the swine flu pandemic, and watch the news pieces from back then, and they talk about how the vaccine wasn't tested properly, how the government participated in propaganda in order to hype the fear, how they helped cover it up, how they didn't take care of people who filed complaints with health problems, people that were disabled and even were killed by the vaccination. I'd really encourage, there's plenty of footage out there on YouTube to be seen, plenty of reputable news organizations that did investigative reporting after the swine flu pandemic of '76 kind of blew over. So get out there, take a look at some of the info, and you'll notice that it's very reminiscent of what's going on today, except the guy's tie is a little wider.
Let's have one last thing. Okay, so actually you bring up a very germane point. That 60 Minutes documentary was only shown once to the public, the American public, one time. And you can see in there, there's a gal by the name of Judy Roberts, and you can see how she has Guillain-Barré, and she suffered paralysis in her face. There's a doctor out there called Dr. Andrew Molden who talks about, after vaccines, how you suffer these microstrokes in your face, and you can see it through the different muscular structures in your face. You can see it, the eyes turning out or in a bit, and you can see many of the different things that are actually available. Dr. Sherry Tenpenny has a lot of wonderful information. Dr. Rebecca Carley has a lot of wonderful information on this. So there's many sources for information out there. I suggest you guys go and look at it. website is vactruth.com. Try to keep you guys informed. I appreciate you guys.
Well, in vactruth.com, I haven't visited the website personally myself, but what a more important point is for people to get out there and look at all the information yourself and make an intelligent decision. I mean, the one thing that's safe to say is vaccines make pharmaceutical companies a lot of money. Companies that make a lot of money have a reason to be able, or have reason to market in order to increase their sales, in order to increase their profits. This is the main discussion in the boardroom. I'm sure that public safety and public perception always come secondary to that. So get out there, look at the information that's available, put it all down, research it, verify it, put it up, put the information up against each other, make the decision for yourself as far as what you think is the safe thing to do. You know, I noticed in there that he said this is not about the individual's decision. This is about the group or the collective. And I kind of noticed that he just seemed to dismiss the individual people. Like, you know, we're not here. In fact, I even think he said we're not here to discuss the individual's citizen or the individual's choice about this. This is about what would you do if you were the director, you know?
Interesting. If you look at the agenda, they're going to be breaking us up into these breakout groups, and that's a very classic tactic to divide and conquer, if you will. So I expect really no answers to come out of this. I really expect basically to come out and say, well, the consensus is in. We all agree that the vaccines are going to be safe, and we all just want to go full steam ahead. So I fully expect that answer.
Well, you know, I noticed that that was pretty much the options that they left us. So, you know, I was a car salesman for many years, folks, and I would sit you down at my desk and I'd say, okay, you want $5,000 down and $200 a month? Do you want $500 down and $700 a month, or maybe something in between? And you know, it's kind of a illusion of freedom of choice through multiple choice selection, and it's a way to get you to say, oh, well, obviously something in between, when maybe something completely that I'm not offering you would be your preferred choice. So think about that. We'll talk a little bit more about the basic sales tactics and also tactics of low-level mind control, if you will, in order to be able to pull people into agreeing with the agenda that's being put forth here. This is Turtle WACC. We're going to get back inside and we'll be back.